Hey, good morning, everybody. Good morning, visionaries. Good morning. Good morning. Happy Vision Friday. I knew I was going to be on here early because I've been up. Let me tell you, I've been up, and I'm excited about today's Vision Friday. Today's Vision Friday. It's just gonna be fantastic. Okay. It's about crafting your signature echo, and I can't wait to really get into that. But let me say something. So last night, I don't know. It was okay. So yesterday, we all know yesterday was February 29th. We all know that we're in a leap year. And I truly believe in just what you speak, what you believe, it all comes into fruition if you just really believe it and if you speak it. And so yesterday, on my way to work, I went to Dunkin' Donuts, got my coffee, and I was just in the car. And I said, okay, God, I'm in my leap year. Okay. We're in a leap year and I'm leaping today. I'm going to leap today on this 29th day that we have, on this extra day that we have. So I'm going to leap. I'm leaping in all areas of my life. I want to leap in my finances. I want to leap on my job. I want to leap in business. I want to leap in love, just all the areas that are important to me in my life. I want to leap in those areas. And then of course I said what I said, and I did like a symbolic leap in my car, right? Like a leap. And then I went on about my business, right? Forgetting that I even had this whole conversation with God, forgetting that I had this whole conversation with myself. Okay, go on about my day, whatever. Then I get home from work. Of course, I'm tired because the day was long. There was a lot of things going on, and I watched the series that I was watching on Hulu, and then I was trying my best not to fall asleep because I was really tired. It was about 8:30 or something, and one of my friends texted me, and she was like, just she was texting me something, and I was like, well, I'm sitting here trying not to fall asleep, and she was like, well, rest, and I was like, no, because if I fall asleep now, I'll be up at 2 a.m. Lo and behold, about 8:30, 8:45, yeah, I fell asleep. And then I woke back up at 11:30 and I could not go to sleep. And I was trying my best to trying my best to go back to sleep. And it's just like I just couldn't go back to sleep. I tried to scroll myself to back to sleep on social media. That didn't work. And then so I ended up getting up, and I turned on Masterclass app, and I was watching Mark Cuban's Masterclass. I only watched it for like 5 minutes, and then it was just like, no, just get ready for today's Vision Friday, and do some more notes and do some more, just kind of like just making sure you have everything together, right? And so I'm saying all that to say that I don't think I recognized like the power in what I did on yesterday in my car, because this morning as I was preparing for today's live, I was like, I'm I'm changing, like my business model is changing, my business thoughts are changing, my business statement is changing. Things are changing, right? And so I used to call myself like a creative business consultant and coach. But as I began to just kind of identify myself more, identify my business more, go through the motions and willing to be vulnerable, meaning that I know the end goal, I know what it is that I want to do, but I'm still within the journey and within the process, I'm still figuring it out, right? So today it clicked like things are changing. I'm not a creative. I'm not just a creative business consultant and coach. What I am is a visionary business consultant and coach, or a visionary business coach. That's what I am. That's the true definition of what I do within 624 visionaries, right? And then even still, I was thinking about like what my mission statement was, and my mission statement used to be was where you come to me for creative solutions, and I inspire your $1 million ideas. And as I'm beginning to really redefine and reframe and build out my programs and what I have to offer, I was stating to myself, that's no longer the full message of what I do. And so I was sitting down and I was just really working within myself to figure out like what's my new mission statement? Like what is the thing that like what is the best description of what I do, right? So I'm excited to say that I came up with like my new statement. And my new statement is it's simple, but it's true. It's the truest form of what I do, right? So hi, I am Tai Young. So you all are going to be called visionaries. So hello, visionaries. I am Tai Young, and I am the force behind 624 Visionaries. And 624 Visionaries is where your true self meets unprecedented success, cultivating ideas that redefine industries. And that is what I do as a visionary business coach at 624 Visionaries, right? And so I venture beyond traditional coaching to unlock the heart of your entrepreneurial spirit. With a focus on empathy, resilience, and authenticity, I guide you through a journey of self discovery to unearth your signature echo. So, your signature echo is going to be one of the programs that I offer within a program that I will be launching, right? I guide you through a journey of self discovery to unearth your signature echo, that unique impact only you can make in this world. Okay. Together, we don't just chase success, we redefined it, crafting $1 million ideas grounded in your truest self. So let's transform your visionary legacy, right? So that's what we're going to do. So we're starting things off like in Vision Fridays. And then I am going to be launching a program. I know I've been saying it, but I want to make sure that when I launch this program, that it's not a start and stop, that I launch it and I launch it in I launch it in a way that it does have the success that I have envisioned and that I want. So I said all that to say because I just wanted to reintroduce myself, right? And it's okay to reintroduce yourself because we're talking about like finding and amplifying your voice in a crowded marketplace, right? So sometimes you do have to keep trying, kind of keep tweaking things until you get it to where you feel like it's the place that you're supposed to be. And that's why we're talking about crafting your signature echo yesterday. Today. So last week we broke down about embracing vulnerability as strength because I feel like we're redefining things, we're resetting things, we are redoing some things. And so we did that in vulnerability, and now we want to talk about crafting your signature echo, right? So some people are trying to figure out like what are you talking about, your signature echo? And so within all of those things, your signature echo is like, what do people know you as? And it's just basically a nice little cute way of just saying, what do people know you as? Like, if somebody's coming to work with you, if somebody's coming to your brand, if somebody is coming to do things for you or do things with you, what will they get from you? Um, that's why I need an engineer. I need an engineer, a production engineer to kind of flip through some things for me. But that's when I get that's later, but I'm just speaking some things out into existence, right? Because eventually I'll get to that space where my timeline will definitely be more concrete and I'll have these people to work these things behind the scenes for me. But nevertheless, in the spirit of we're going to just keep going, I'm going to do it myself. So we talked about crafting your signature echo. Okay. So the first step to crafting your signature echo is we're going to identify your unique echo. So if you're tuning in on the replay, please do hashtag replay. If you're watching me this morning, please just say good morning, interact with me and share. And yeah, let's get into it. So when we identify your unique echo, right? It's about finding your voice. It's about discussing and discovering the concepts of your signature echo. What do people know you by? What is the unique impact that you have? What is the reverberation of your voice in your industry, right? So it's not just this message not only like involves like what you share and how you share it, but how does it resonate? How does it linger? How does your essence and your presence and who you are linger with your audience, creating a lasting influence, right? So first things first, I believe in order to really determine or figure out how to identify your echo or your unique echo is you first have to determine who you are and what you believe in, right? So I think I talked to you all last week about how I had to go through a process of just really understanding what are my real methodologies in business and when I coach and when I consult. What are the things that I really believe in? What are the things that I really following? What's my echo? What do people, really know me as? Or when they walk away, like, what's my patterns? What do I really believe about business? What do I really know about business, right? How do I really help entrepreneurs and leaders, right? So that's so and for you to discover your signature echo or for you to just identify your unique echo, you have to know who you are. You have to understand who you are. You have to know what you do, right? And so going back to me, even rediscovering what I do with 624 Visionaries, going from feeling like a leader who you come to me for your creative solutions and I inspire your $1 million ideas to now further redefining who I am, where when you come to 624 Visionaries, where your true self meets unprecedented success, cultivating ideas that redefine industries, right? And then even digging deeper into things and digging deeper into my signature echo. Um, and even first, before I even go into that, like figuring out first who inspires me, like who are some people that I can model after, who I feel like have created great signature echoes and things like that, right? So these are people that that whether they're in your industry, whether they're in a different industry, and then they're doing something different, but they inspire you, right? So these are two people that have inspired me over the years. Number one, Brene Brown. She is one of the people who have taught me how to accept and move into vulnerability. I believe I had watched a TED talk of hers, and that was like my first introduction to her. And just on the not so much on the topic of on the topic of vulnerability, and just really how to use that in my life and how to help me to move forward and be more optimistic about life and be more present in life and take more risk in life, because I feel like the only way sometimes that you can really move forward in life is just by just being vulnerable and taking those risks. And then another person that has really inspired me over the years is Aja Corinne McGee. And I think a lot of people do know her. If you don't know her, you should be getting to know her, and you can Google her name and she should definitely come up. But she reminds me about being conscious of just my personal branding and being the undeniable choice, and just really focusing on myself and just following my truest path and things of that nature. So those two people are people who just really just help me on my endeavors, my entrepreneur endeavors, and how to really walk in this thing when it comes to business, right? So I want you to put in the comments, like put in the comments of some people who you admire or whose signature echo inspires you, who you can look at and say, this is the lingering thing that resonates with me when I think about that person. Like when you think about them, what have they taught you? Iyanla Van Zandt always asks this question, especially when she talks to women or men concerning relationships and their pathologies and the things that they do within relationships. And she always asks the men, what did your mother teach you about love, or how to, whatever. And then she asks the women, what did your father teach you about, men and things like that. And because she recognized that people have influence on us, whether we believe it or accept it or know it or not, people will have the ability to have influence on us. And the their influence is a big deal to us, and it subconsciously gets ingrained in us, and we pattern our ways and our thinking and the things that we do after what they have subconsciously taught us. So we not only want to identify negative things that people teach us, but we want to think about the positive things that people teach us. And and you can do that by determining whose signature echo inspires you. My two that I'm choosing to identify today is Brene Brown and Asia Korean. So again, put in the comments if you're watching this later or you're tuning in now, just put in the comments who's someone who's famous, personal, whoever you know, who signature echo inspires you. Okay. But then also I want to move on to what I believe my signature echo is. I have a few pillars within what I believe my signature echo is. First things first is I think one of my pillars of my signature echo is empathy. I believe that understanding how someone is feeling or what they're experiencing has helped me to be able to put things in a perspective that people can relate to and therefore help foster change in their lives. So when I'm dealing with people just regularly on either a personal level or a business level, God has really gifted me with the gift of empathy, meaning that I can really identify with what someone is going through or experiencing, even if I have never experienced it myself, because I feel like the best way to get somebody to understand something or to change something in their lives is to put it in a way that they understand. Um, to put it in a way that they can grab hold on to, put it in a way that it illuminates within them. Because if I'm constantly only speaking from my perspective, and if my perspective is different from your perspective, you will not always get it, or you may resist it. But if I put it in terms that relate, that touch that inner part of you, that touch you in the heart or touch you in the belly, um, that can help you make a change in business, personal life, growth, whatever. And I feel like empathy helps, having a gift of empathy helps do that. So I feel like that's one of my signature echoes. The second signature echo I feel like that I have is resilience. In the teaching of having resilience, I wholeheartedly believe in being resilient and believe that you can't survive life without being resilient. Okay, life, business, whatever will chew you up and spit you out if you don't learn how to be resilient. Okay. Another one of my pillars that I feel is part of my signature echo is just teaching authenticity. Um, Over time, I have learned and feel like I no longer believe in faking it until I make it. This is what I now believe. I now believe that I'm already in purpose and I've already made it. However, there are some current challenges that I must overcome because we're never gonna we never stay at a place of everything is okay. There's always gonna be something. But as long as I'm moving, as long as I have forward movement, as long as I have some progression in my life, I'm in purpose and I've already made it. I just have to deal with these challenges that have come against me within and that's part of authenticity to me. That's how I just can describe it, like just authentic. Like I no longer just making these voided or false voids of words, just speaking it out of my mouth and just really just living in my moments, in my true moments. Okay. Another thing that I feel like is a part of another pillar that I want to say is a part of my signature echo is teaching people how to follow your dreams. There are so many people who are miserable out there because they simply aren't following their dreams. They're living the lives of other people that were created for them instead of doing what they've always wanted to do in life. And I'll talk about that in the next portion after I go through like what my pillars are. My final pillar is and of course, vulnerability. Like just don't be afraid. Just release yourself and let go. And things like that, right? within vulnerability. And of course, I've talked about this in depth in previous lives, but if you want to get a fuller version of it, just watch my previous live from last week, embracing vulnerability as strength, the last Vision Friday. You can look at that and watch that video just to get a deeper version of what I mean about vulnerability and what I believe vulnerability is. So I don't believe that your signature echo is just stating the obvious. The stating the obvious for me is that I'm a visionary business coach, right? That's just stating the obvious. But am I able to show and explain my impact through my messages? Am I able to show and explain my impact of what I really can do for people as a visionary business coach? And what I do as a visionary business coach within 624 for visionaries is show you how to have your true self meet unprecedented success, cultivating ideas that redefine industries. That is what I've learned and determined that is what my signature echo is. That is what I do within what I do as a business coach, right? So I'm not just going to state the obvious. I'm going to tell you exactly what I can do for you so that it can resonate with you and that it can bring you forward. Okay, so now we're going to move on to voice amplification through authentic stories, right? So we're going to shift it. You want to shift your story, your marketing, your traditional marketing from just traditional marketing messages to storytelling, right? That is how you um, make your signature echo become alive. So you may not have to always point specifically out certain things, like going back to my pillars: empathy, resilience, authenticity, following your dreams, and vulnerability. If you tell your stories, if you tell stories, if you produce your storytelling in such a way, those things will be what's the word? Implied in my storytelling, right? Those things will be implied in how I bring messages out. And you'll learn that through my storytelling. I'm going to be probably talking about vulnerability. In my storytelling, I'll be talking about following dreams, authenticity, resilience, empathy. Through my storytelling, I can emphasize the importance, of those things within my storytelling, right? So, and not just talking about struggles and failures, but just making my voice more relatable and memorable in a crowded marketplace. Because the best storytellers, like, just think about the last book that you read that changed your life, whether it was a fiction or nonfiction. However they wrote those words, however they made that story come across or made that information come across, it was life changing because the storytelling was impeccable, right? So I want to tell you all a story about, like, when I was younger and I was graduating high school, and I had wanted to go to cosmetology school, and I wanted to be a hairstylist. I wanted to get into doing nails and things of that nature. I wanted to get into the beauty industry. I still think about being in the beauty industry because I like beauty. I like fashion. I like good hair. Like, I just like I like when people look good. I like to look good, like, especially if I'm going out. Like, if you go to my page, if you're following me on Facebook or if you're following me on Instagram, I recently, like, put a little picture out there because I was feeling myself. I was feeling good about myself. I was going out for the night, and I felt beautiful, and I enjoy putting on some nice clothes and looking great and putting together a great outfit, having my face look nice, having my hair look nice, and whatever. So I remember wanting to be a cosmetologist, and wanting to get into that business. And just at the time, my mother, just didn't really think it was a good idea, and encouraged me to go away to college. And I did try college, but I ended up dropping out of college because it just really wasn't what I wanted to do. Um, but I often think about, like, what would have happened if I would have chose to pursue it? What would have happened if I would have chose to persevere despite difficulty within that particular situation, because I had to figure out how to pay for it. I think one of the main reasons why I didn't pursue it is because I didn't know how to pay for it. I didn't know how I was going to make it happen. I'm sure I could have did it if I really, chose to figure it out, but I just didn't know what to do. So, but I often wonder, like, what would have happened if I would have pursued that, if I would have continued on the path that I originally wanted to be on, like what would have transpired in that. And so this is when I go back to my pillars about following your dreams, because I do feel like I teach people to follow their dreams. So because of who I am, because of who I know that I am within myself, I know without a shadow of a doubt that it still would have I would have still ended up being like here, meaning teaching people about business, teaching people about encouraging people, inspiring people in their life. Like even because it's just some things are just a part of me. Recently someone told me, they said, they asked me what I did because I've been going to a new church and people, you how you interact with people. And after some weeks of going there, the young lady asked me, she was like, well, what do you do? And I said, well, 9 to 5, I'm a property manager and then I have my own business. She was like, oh, because I thought you was a hairstylist. You get hairstylist vibes, right? And then she also complimented me like on the way I dress, because that's still like a part of me, right? And then it's like I always understood, like even like when I was coming up and I was hanging out and I would do different things, I kind of knew, I understood like I could be the life of the party. Like I could, like I'm dancing all night on the dance floor. Like I understood, like when I was confident and I had like, and I was feeling confident, like when I walk in the room, I can effortlessly own it, because I know I have a presence. But now that I'm older and I'm having more confidence in myself, I do understand that I have presence. I do understand that I can walk in a room and own it. I do understand that that's naturally a part of who I am. So because I just naturally have a passion for wanting people to be their best and to help people, I can see that had I did pursue like being a hairstylist, had I did pursue um walking in that path, that I would have navigated to the form of some form of a business coach, right? Because as those women were sitting in my chair and as I'm helping women, I could see myself pouring in wisdom. I could see myself being a therapist to them. I could see myself giving them knowledge, because I was just a natural learning person, a person that wanted to learn, a person that just always had all type of information stored within me, right? So I could see myself just pouring out different things. I could see myself giving business advice about things that people just wouldn't even know that I knew about. I could see that just coming out of me, right? I could see the motivational speaker emerging out of me, right? And so even as I envision myself going back in time and saying producing it and saying being in cosmetology and being in the business, I can see my like they just imagine myself like having a speaking event, okay, or whatever, and I can see as the people were to introduce me, I could see it being me being introduced as former hairstylist turned beauty mogul and entrepreneur leader Ty Young. Like I can see that, because that is who I am. No matter what, and I recognize that even for myself, no matter what path I go down, no matter what industry I'm in, no matter what career choice I choose to make, my signature echo is that of a leader. My signature echo is that of pouring out wisdom and giving you knowledge and teaching you how to embrace yourself, teaching you how to have resilience, teaching you how to have authenticity, teaching you how to be vulnerable, teaching you how to follow your dreams, teaching you how to have, showing my empathy and things of that nature. I can see that pouring out of me. So my unique signature echo would still have resonated with those who, you know, have dreams. And I would have been able to encourage them to follow them, right? I would have been able to encourage them to do what needed to be done. So that's what I want to talk, that's what I mean by when you have voice application, you know, telling a story, just me telling that story can help you figure out like, okay, I should be doing this or I should be doing that, or I understand what you're saying and I can relate to that. So you got to find a way to tell your own authentic stories that help further your unique echo or your signature echo, right? So then next we want to just kind of go into about leveraging unconventional platforms, okay? And just basically not always feeling like the only platform you have is through social media or getting up on somebody's stage. You everything is a platform. Anywhere you are and have the freedom to speak is a platform. Okay. You can use different mediums to offer your way of thinking or offer your methodologies or offer what you offer your signature echo. There's so many platforms. And I'll talk about two unconventional ones. One is on your job. You never know who is low key being inspired by you. But when you choose to just walk in authenticity, when you choose to just walk in naturally who you are, you just never know who's watching you and who you are inspiring. That's a platform. That's where you have the freedom to speak. That's where you have freedom to be an influence. That's where you have freedom to be the person that you were meant to be. That's where you have freedom to walk in your purpose. So if just walk in there and be who you need to be, right? Some random person you meet, that's a platform. Some random person that you have the opportunity to spark a conversation with, that is considered a platform. So let me tell you a story about last year for my birthday. I was in a nail salon last year. On my birthday, I decided to get up, go get my nails done. And I was sitting there waiting for my turn, and then another lady, older lady, walked in, and she was waiting on her turn. I believe she was like maybe in her 60s or whatever. And so she asked me a question, and in some kind of way she determined that I was there because I was getting my nails done because it was my birthday. And then she was like, well, how old are you turning? And I was like, 41. She was like, 41. Oh my God, you don't look 41. Okay, whatever, blah, blah, blah. So some kind of way we ended up talking about the pandemic, and she was asking me like how I navigated the pandemic and just things like that, because I think some kind of way I told her that I was a business coach, and we were just talking, and when she was asking me questions, and she was just being inquisitive because it was making small talk while we waited for our turn. So we just so happened to end up being sitting next to each other when we were getting our pedicures, and she was just very intrigued by me because my natural signature echo was just shining through. And I was doing it effortlessly. I wasn't there to get a new client or anything like that. I was just there because it was my birthday and I wanted to get my nails and my toes done. And so while we were talking, and just the things that I was telling her about, like what I did during the pandemic, how I got through it, what I was doing to encourage myself, what I was doing to uplift myself, what I learned during the pandemic, like this 60 something year old woman was just really being like I could see the wheels turning. I could see the transformation happening in her. I could see her thinking. I could see perspective being shifted. I can see how I was encouraging her. I was seeing how these things were just naturally, because I was naturally just being my authentic self and just naturally talking about the things that were powerful to me and just giving her what and sharing with her. Like it was so inspiring to her that not only did she just like she left out of there feeling great, but in essence, she kind of paid me for my service, right? Because ended up paying for my nails and my she's basically paid for my nail service, my pedicure and my nails being done. Like I didn't go in there expecting that to happen. She was wanted to talk, so I chose to talk to her. But that's what I want to help you understand. Like when you just naturally allow your purpose and your signature echo to flow out of you, that you can make changes in people, unexpectedly. And so even though I might not have gotten my fee, but that what because all she got was a pedicure that day. So that hour of time for her and just her having a conversation with me did something for her enough for her to say, let me pay for your services for you. Okay. So, yeah. So as we kind of like wrap up the what we went through, identifying your unique echo, voice amplification through authentic stories, leveraging unconditional platforms. We determined that self-discovery has to be your foundation. Okay. So when you understand who you are, when you understand yourself, when you understand your beliefs, that's going to be your first step to identifying what your signature echo is. And if you're tuning in, just make sure you watch the replay. It'll be available immediately after this. But today's live was really, just really, really good. And I enjoyed it. So we're talking about crafting your signature echo, right? So self-discovery, make sure you use that as a foundation. It's going to emphasize, you want to emphasize that because you're going to understand who you are. You're going to understand your beliefs. You're going to understand how to identify yourself echo. This is how you're going to use this introspectively, because it's going to be crucial to your authenticity and your impact, okay? You want to figure out who your inspirational figures are. I talked about Brene Brown and Asia Karim McGee as my inspirational figures who I feel like have understood what their signature echo is and they have made an impact on me. They inspired me. So that's the challenge that I want to give you to find out who has the influence on you when it comes to signature echoes and learning from them, because learning from others and their echoes, it can help you refine your own, right? And then also it can be a reminder to ourselves of how we stand on the shoulders of other people who've gone before us, and that inspiration is a collective journey. It's not a self-centered journey. Inspiration is a collective journey, okay? And then also you want to talk about your core, we talked about core elements of your signature journey, right? So I recognize that my pillars are empathy, resilience, authenticity, teaching people how to follow their dreams and teaching people how to be vulnerable. Okay. So they're not just personal values for me, but they're universal truths for me, but that also happen to resonate with other people on their entrepreneurial journey. And where they're often tested at, right? Um, Using storytelling as a medium. And so when you look at it, so medium means in what way do you express it? Like think about what art. There's different art mediums, canvas painting, structure, I forget the word that they call it, but when they make clay formations or whatever, or structural elements and things of that nature. The words are escaping me, but you get to understand it. So using storytelling as your medium, as your way of exploring or explaining yourself. I talked about earlier how I believe, my career, if I would have chosen to pursue the career in cosmetology, how it still would have guided me into who I am and what I'm doing now. I personally just really believe that, right? We talked about presence and influence. Like just you got to recognize who you are. You got to recognize what your presence brings and what influence that you have. If you don't know that part of yourself, if you don't know how to operate that in your business or in what you're doing in leadership, in your corporate career, you need to do some self exploration. Okay. And then also talking about the platform of life. Let's not always just focus on being on a social media platform, but focusing on anywhere you have the freedom to speak is a platform. Anywhere you have the freedom to show who you are and show your authenticity and show your purpose and show what God put you on this earth to do. Anywhere, that's the platform. Okay. And just making sure that we use our platforms wisely. Okay. So Yeah, that's today's, message Vision Friday for crafting your signature echo. So just remember, like, your signature echo transcends the boundaries of conventional success. Okay. Your signature echo transcends the boundaries of conventional success. It is the harmonious blend of your deepest truths, the stories that have shaped you, and the unwavering belief in the power of vulnerability. So, as Black female entrepreneurs and leaders, we are architects of change, crafting legacies that resonate with the echoes of empathy, resilience, and authenticity. Our journeys are testimonies to the strength found in embracing our authentic selves and the transformative power of sharing our stories, not as mere narratives of where we've been, but as beacons of possibilities for where we're going. Okay. Remember, your platform isn't confined to the stages you stand on, but it's woven in the fabric of every life you touch. So let your signature echo be a call to action for yourself and for every soul you inspire along the way. Because when we speak our truth, we not only illuminate our own path, but also light the way for others to follow their dreams unapologetically with open hearts. So let's not just occupy space, but let's create ripples that turn into waves, echoing through the annuals of history and marking our indelible impact on the world. So I've been starting to get like these illumination statements that I want to do at the end of my life. Okay. So again, I am in a process of like creating this new program. I'm still figuring out the name of it. I'm still like doing a framework, but I'm gonna get it done soon. And I just can't wait to share these things with you. So in the meantime, in between time, you can still check me out on my website, 624 Visionaries. I'm going to be doing some changing around with that as well because I have to update. Because again, like I was saying this morning, 624 Visionaries is where your true self meets unprecedented success, cultivating ideas that redefine industry. That's what my visionaries who work with me at 624 Visionaries are going to experience, where your true self meets unprecedented. I'm sorry, let's start that over. Rewind. Where your true self meets unprecedented success, cultivating ideas that redefine industries. Also, I do have a book that you can purchase, and it's How I Fumbled 10K in Business, Guide to Avoiding My Costly Mistakes and Building a Sustainable Business. Now, this is kind of like just kind of going through a lot of foundational principles that can help you in your entrepreneur journeys and just how you can just, understand that there is money to be made even in a crowded marketplace. And then also you can use this live in how to find your signature echo or crafting your signature echo. So I know y'all gonna tune in. I know y'all gonna rewatch the replay. So I just encourage everybody to please rewatch the replay. And just interact with me via the comments, and I'll definitely tune back in with you. And if I have any follow-up questions, if you do have questions, feel free to ask them in the comments, and I definitely will make sure that I answer them. And I will see you all again on next Friday for Vision Friday. I don't have that topic right in front of me. I can't even remember what we're going to be talking about because I don't have my content calendar up in front of me. But I did enjoy everybody today. And make sure you share this live. Tell somebody about 624 Visionaries. Tell somebody about Vision Fridays. Tell people how Vision Friday has been impacting you, especially if it's impacting you. Let me know in the comments. And then that's it. So I will see you all next week between 6 and 7 a.m. And I never know. Sometimes I get on at 7, sometimes I get on at 6. These last 2 Fridays I've been getting on early because I've been very excited and I have been wanting to give myself time to have conversation so I'm not rushing through the live. So that's all I have for today, and I will see you all next week. Bye.